Alright guys, so I'm going to be doing a voiceover throughout this video because I really did not talk at all. So the morning after we arrived, we actually went to a diner with my family that lives there. My brother and I decided to rent a car over there, so it was really easy to go to all the places we wanted to. First stop was obviously going to be my beautiful home that my brother and I kind of grew up in. We had two houses, but this was the last one we lived in before we moved to Texas. But this is it. It is really changed over the last 8-9 years, I guess. I'm gonna admit I actually kind of cried looking at this house because I just we had so many memories in this house. It was really nice to see because 2 years ago I did come to New Jersey with my mom, but we didn't really get out of the car and actually walk around the house because it was raining, so we just passed by it. The driveway actually used to be filled with rocks. It's pavement now, and the gate was not there before either. Those pine trees that you see there, my dad actually planted those, and I'm really happy that the owner kind of left those. It's like a memory. My brother and I actually walked all the way to where we would wait for the bus in the morning for middle school, and it was just crazy, honestly. We were waiting as if we were waiting for the bus. We actually have a little park just like walking distance from our house that we would always go to when we were younger, and we saw the park. It's completely changed now, obviously. We then walked all the way over to our old elementary school because again, it's walking distance from our house. It really wasn't that far, and it was really nice to see our elementary school. I cried the first time I saw it 2 years ago, but we couldn't really go inside obviously because it was a Sunday, but it was still cool to see from the outside. We saw, where we used to go out to recess and do field days and all that. Very, very nostalgic, and one day my brother and I do plan to come back and actually go inside the school and do all that because I would love to see from inside and maybe even see if we catch one of our old teachers that still work here maybe. My brother and I then walked all around the school to where the top of the hill is, where my mom would always pick us up. I just literally pictured myself running up that hill every day after school. Very, very beautiful memories. When we walked back home, we saw that our neighbors were outside, and we decided to say hello to them and surprise them because they had no idea that we were even visiting New Jersey, and it was really nice talking to them again. After we headed to Patterson and visited one of my cousin's old houses, showed him in everything. Since we were in Patterson, we decided to stop by a pizza place that we would always eat at with my cousins called Tony's Pizza, and I got my usual order, which is just one slice of pizza with the Snapple kiwi strawberry flavored. Forever and always loved it. Then my brother and I decided to visit one of our old childhood friends, and we talked to him for a while. And then after, we met up with another childhood friend. This is literally one of my best friends in the entire world. I love her so much. We met up with her and we went to Hoboken actually. We had dinner there at this beautiful Italian restaurant called Blue Eyes with this amazing view of New York City. The next day we headed over to our childhood library. We were always here. My brother and I, we were always here at the library, whether it was for tutoring or doing a homework assignment of some sort, or for me, it was reading because I absolutely loved reading, like I said, when I was younger, and I would spend most of my time here. And I remember doing that little drawing. I remember doing those when I was little. So after the kids area, we went upstairs to the adult area because after elementary school, we were considered adults, I guess, and we were no longer allowed in the kids area. So we looked up there for a while, saw the little video game section where my brother would always be at. Behind the library was actually the public park in which we would always go to. And this right here was a little field where we would always go with Speedy, my dog. Yes, we still had him when we lived in New Jersey. Like I said, I've had him since I was 11. We would come to this field specifically and just let him go and roam around the entire field since it was always empty, and it was really cool to see it again. The playground has not changed at all, which I absolutely loved that they never changed any of the playground. It looks exactly the same as it was back then. This playground specifically looks like a ship, and I remember playing Captain, I think the game. I don't know, it was like a game of a captain of some sort, and I would never touch the steering wheel. Look at me touching it. Nobody would ever let me steer the wheel. Oh, that's so amazing. In the park, there was this gigantic tank in which my dad would always climb. My dad would pick my brother and I up onto the tank, and it was just like a nice memory. After that, we headed over to this video game store where my brother would always visit with my cousin. This is where my brother would mostly always hang out. I never really went in here a lot of the times, but my brother really wanted to go check it out. My brother got a few things from there, and they were giving out these free pins. So my brother got one, and then I also got one for my cousin. Around this time, my brother and I were getting hungry, so we stopped by the infamous Burger King, where we would always meet up with our cousins, and we always had the best and most fun time here. I just got my usual order, which is just some chicken nuggets with small fries. So sad that they're not crown shaped like before. If you know, you know. Of course, my brother and I had to stop by our local grocery store, Corrado's. I know this may be a weird place to visit, but my brother and I would constantly go to the grocery store with my mom all the time, so we would be here a lot. And we just wanted to see inside, see if anything's changed and all that. We also passed by White Castle and my old preschool. Next stop was our local bank. This is another weird place to visit, but they would always give out lollipops and candy canes for Christmas time. My brother and I basically just wanted to go in and get a lollipop. They don't do that anymore, unfortunately, and I was so sad to see, but it's okay. It was so cool to visit. Last stop was our middle school. Unfortunately, we also didn't go inside this school, but it was still cool to see from the outside and just like reminisce basically. We then headed over to another one of our childhood friends' house, and we ended up going out with her. She ended up taking us to go get boba, and we ended up at this pier with this amazing view of New York City. We were so close to the city, and it was such an amazing view. We took some pictures, and it was just overall a really nice time with her. The next day was all about New York. First stop had to be Times Square, obviously, so we just looked around and I saw Carlos's Bakery. Unfortunately, it was all closed up and I was so sad. We then spotted the Hard Rock Cafe, and my mom at the time was in Dominican Republic at Punta Cana, and she was staying at the Hard Rock Hotel, so we went inside and just looked around. We didn't really get anything. We just roamed around and it was cool to see. My brother and I then spotted another Carlos's Bakery, and this one was actually open, so we looked at each other and we had to stop by. We went inside and there was no way that we were gonna go just look inside and not get a piece of cake. We ended up getting just one cake because their slices were humongous and there was no way that only one of us was gonna eat just one slice. It was pretty good, but it did end up giving me a huge stomachache at the end. We then stopped by the Chelsea Market, and this was a recommended place to go if you were ever in New York. I think someone else recommended it to us. I told my brother that I really wanted to go just see what it was all about. It was really cute. It's basically just a marketplace with lots of little stores and boutiques, and it was just really, really cute. And we walked all the way to the end until we got out, and that was that. We then walked over to this place called The Little Island. This was a recommended place that our neighbors that we talked to beforehand recommended to us. The view from even outside the island was beautiful. It's like these statues that look like mushrooms, at least that's what my neighbor referred them to. Inside the island, there's like this playground area, as well as a trail, obviously, that goes all around with different views. Also, little activities that you can do along the way. And it was really, really nice. And I loved it. As we were walking, we passed by this restaurant with these super cool statues of Mewtwo and Ash Ketchum and Pikachu. These statues were humongous and had like crystals in them. We also passed by this restaurant that I see so many influencers and YouTubers go to. It was super cool to see in person. Next place we went to was the High Line. It's basically like an elevated park. It had an amazing view. There are also some food stands, but because we were a bit late, they were already closed, unfortunately. As you head towards the end of the High Line, there's a really big staircase, and you can either go all the way down and you can see a beautiful view overlooking one of the streets of New York, or you can choose to sit down on one of the steps and just like look from there, and it's really, really pretty and so gorgeous. As we were walking, we ended up at Union Square Park. Unfortunately, we didn't get to go to Central Park because it was really, really far away and we were walking the entire time. But I'm glad that we ended up at Union Square Park. There was a really, really cool band playing, so I recorded some of that. The last place we stopped at was this shoe store called the Flight Club. My brother just wanted to browse around, so we just did that. After that, we went back home and stopped by Chick-fil-A for dinner, and that was our day in New York. Alright, so the very first stop we made the next day was to Garden State Plaza. This is just basically like a mall, and my brother wanted to go and just browse around. After, we were pretty close to where one of my cousins live, so we decided to stop by and visit her. We then headed over to one of our favorite ice cream places, but unfortunately it was closed for the season. So then we went ahead and picked up one of our old childhood friends again, and we decided to go to the American Dream Mall. This is supposedly the second biggest mall in the world. Every single person or old friend that we visited told us we had to go to the American Dream Mall and check it out, so that's exactly what we did. This mall is huge and has an entire amusement park with rides and roller coasters, plus a water park. Unfortunately, we couldn't really go on the rides because one, we didn't have a lot of time, and two, the rides were temporarily unavailable. So I was really sad about that because I love roller coasters, but it's okay. The water park was closed when we got there, but we did go down the ramp just to see what it was like from the outside. We then checked out the most gigantic candy store I've ever been to in my life. This candy store has literally 3 floors and has merch of every single candy you can think of. It was really insane, and we didn't really get anything, but it was still super duper cool to see. Oh yeah, and they have an entire Oreo cafe. Like what? This is so cool. As we were walking by, we stopped by Beast Burger. Initially, we were just checking it out, but decided that we would just eat here now because we were getting kind of hungry during this time. I don't remember what burger I got, but I did get a burger with like bacon in it and stuff, and it was pretty good. We decided to do an escape room, and this was so fun. We did an escape room called Prison Break, and I would definitely do it again. We didn't escape, unfortunately, but we were super duper close, and I loved getting to do this with one of my best friends. We then left and dropped off my friend at her house so that she can get ready for the night because we were gonna go out after. My brother and I decided to go to the local Walgreens we always used to go to when we were younger, and in front of the Walgreens was the post office where we would always drop off our mail. It's a memory, okay? Anyways, we just went inside and decided to get some waters. After we went to go pick up my friend again, and we headed over to New York to this place called Olives, and it was really cute inside. The energy in there just felt so warm and cozy. It was really nice. There was a live band playing, and it was just a really nice way to end the night. For the last couple of hours on our last day of New Jersey, we decided to visit our old house that we used to live in. My uncle actually lives where we used to live. He was not home unfortunately because he was working, but my cousin was there, so we just stopped by and said hi to him. Then we had to go back to our old house again just to say goodbye to it one last time and our beautiful neighborhood. For lunch, we had to go to the McDonald's right near our house. We always used to go when we were younger since it was literally walking distance. So I got my usual order, which is basically a McChicken with fries and an apple pie on the side. By now we had to return the car back to the rental car place. So we met up with my aunt, and from there we headed back home. For the rest of the afternoon, we were just packing and ready to leave. We did end up eating dinner with my aunt and uncle since our flight did depart around 10. I had such an amazing trip with my brother, visiting New Jersey, our hometown, where all our childhood memories are at. And of course, getting to see some of our old childhood friends was so great. But yeah, that was our trip. Hopefully you guys enjoyed watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!